Hi guys, Claus Levin here. In this video, I'm going to give you the secret to exercising consistently and to make you addicted to doing it. That's the key really. And by the end of this video, you will agree with me that it's actually possible to do that. There's a process to it, but the mistake we make is that we miss the process and go directly to the aim. So we start deciding to exercise consistently and then we drop out of it. We do something else at one point. Then we blame ourselves and saying, okay, I can never be consistent with anything, right? And then at some point we get enough of that and go back to being consistent for a while. How do you break that pattern? This video gives you the answer. Well, so let's just discuss why we're even talking about this. Well, we're talking about this because we want to live in the frontal lobes with a connection to our emotions. We don't want to live in our emotions with a slight connection to the frontal lobes. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and watch the previous videos. This is the difference between a successful life or a non-successful life. This is pleasure, this is pain. So, and exercising is a strategy for building a foundation that will allow you to push towards the frontal lobes. It is foundational. Sleep and exercise, and then nutrition, right? Food, how much of it and what you eat. Why are we even talking about all this? We're talking about all this because you used to live in nature. When you reached for something sweet, it was nutritious. It was fruit. It was good for you. The reason why it tastes good is because it's good for you. When you reach for something that was, fatty, like, meat on the campfire there, and it tasted really good, that full taste, that's fat. That is good for you. The reason why it tastes so good and gives that full body taste in whatever you eat is because it's good for you. There's no objective power outside of human beings that says, oh, that's very nice tasting. You have the program inside of you to want that, and the taste of it being good is uniquely human because it's good for you. So now you live in a reality where everything that's sweet is bad for you and fat is bad for you because you don't move like you used to, right? And we created artificial, processed sugar, and it ruins your body, and it's all messed up, really, basically. So you have to take responsibility for living in such an amazing reality where you live twice as long. That's a cool reward, right? Cool. But the price of that is that you have to take charge. Before, you were limited by nature. You were in harmony with nature. But you're also, you could die from a common flu and, so it's pretty good now. So what is this about exercising? Why do you do that? That's absurd, right? Running for no reason at all. Well, you do it because you used to exercise by yourself. There was always a point to moving. There isn't now. You can make a living sitting very still in front of a computer all day. And when you do move, you sit in a car or a train or on a motorcycle or whatever, or escalators, right? So we have to take responsibility and say our body used to move, and we have to do that with focus. Why is it then so hard? Well, because your brain is focused on one thing or above all else, and it's saving resources. It doesn't want to spend any energy that is not necessary because it needs that energy when you have to run from a lion the next time or when you have to go hunting. So it wants a reward in the form of survival, which is eating or avoiding dangers, right? What do you do when you go for a run? The brain is going to say, or to be more accurate, the lower parts of the brain is going to say, hey, why are we doing this? Where are we going? Are we going for an ice cream? Is there something sweet by the end of this, right? Why are we running even? Couldn't you walk? It's going to just make it hard all the way because it wants to save resources. So there's a natural pull and saying, where's the lion? Where's the animal you're hunting? Where's the roots there's no point. So it's going to try and pull you back and stop it. So it's are we there yet? Is this over soon? Right? Like a 4 or 6-year-old in the back of your car on the way to Rome or Paris or wherever you're driving, right? So that's why it seems so hard. And when we're running every single day, it's going to try to get you out of it. That's why it's so important in this modern day and age that your power is in the frontal lobes and not down here, which is not power, basically, right? So that's the obstacle to running consistently. But there's one more. When you study personal development, right, and study courses, they tell you to make a real decision about running or exercising, right? Or to change who you are, and then suddenly it will be easy. And that, of course, only leads you to self-blame, because you try or you decide now it's enough, and you run and you believe that now you're a new person and I will exercise consistently. But you won't. You absolutely won't, because it doesn't happen that way. What does happen is that you exercise consistently and then you don't. And then you exercise consistently and then you don't. You go back and forth until the brain finally gets it after 10, 20, 30, 50 years. It finally gets it that, hey, my life is much better. I feel so much better. I make better decisions. I am a better father. I'm better at my job, my work, whatever, when I exercise consistently. So whenever that discussion comes up again, when you're running or exercising, say, shouldn't we stop this? You go, no, absolutely not. I know this is it's a bit uncomfortable right now, but I'm just going to do it anyway, because I'm totally convinced, not just up here, but on a physical level, that this is the best deal. That's why you do it consistently. Once you reach that point, it's automatic. Because once the brain is absolutely convinced that within this reality, I get the most amount of pleasure, it's the best deal. I do this and I get this. Once it's convinced and it sees the relationship between the two in all areas of life, clearly on a physical, experiential level, then you will exercise consistently. Why? Because if you don't at that point, you're going to feel unease, like, hey, I need to exercise. It becomes a must for you. Not because you decided that it's a must or you changed your value system by writing exercises down, but because that's the experience on a physical level. But you're born with the opposite. You're born with the opposite, the inclination to not exercise. Hey, if there's no lion chasing you and you're not hungry, stay put. Save your power, your muscle energy for when you need them, right? Okay, so what do? We already talked about this and making decisions. You have one state where you exercise and one state where you don't. So you do this already, right? I used to anyway. You don't exercise, you do. You take 4 weeks of just total exercising. And I mean, running where you get your pulse up. We mean, because that's what gives you the energy. You can work out your muscles. That's really great too. But what really influences your physical, emotional state is exercising where you get your pulse up, aerobics or whatever, right? So you go back and forth between the two. And you write down or you record yourself every day, talking about your day, talking about how you feel every single day, just for like 15 seconds, 30 seconds. Anyone can do that. And then you compare constantly your life. That's what goes on in your head. You don't say, hey, I'm going to exercise forever now. That's not what you say. You say, I'm going to exercise for 4 weeks or 2 weeks. 4 weeks is good. You need some momentum. You need your body to get used to it before you get the full amount of rewards, right? And you need to not exercise for an extended period of time for you to get the full pain of not exercising. It takes the first week, I don't need to exercise. I still feel great. But that's because you're still running on the momentum of exercising, right? But so you go back and forth like that with a focus on learning. Learn body, learn mind, right? Connect the fact that you were annoyed there with your child with the fact that you weren't exercising. Connect it, right? So you're in the same situation at another point and now you're exercising, you feel great. The same thing happens and there's no annoyance. But this takes some time because the brain is pretty stupid at this, because it thinks that every problem comes from the outside. And it doesn't see that it's the emotional state that influences how you see the problem, how you see the child. So you might be over here with a lot less resources physically and emotionally, because that's what happens when you don't exercise. It's a system, right? So you're in the same situation and you don't get annoyed. And the brain thinks, but that's because the child isn't annoying. But the same exact situation felt completely different when you were tired because you didn't sleep enough. That's another thing, right? Or when you weren't exercising on a consistent basis. So it doesn't see that it's you, baby. it's not the child. Sometimes it might be the child, right? But you react on different levels depending on where you are physically and emotionally. And the one thing that means most to your emotions is whether you exercise. There's a lot of different factors as well, right? How things are going, if people, whatever happens in your outer life also influences you. But this is the trick here. This is the level. Let's just say this is you're being okay here, right? And then life happens. Sometimes it seems like it's against you, sometimes it's with you, something great happens, something not so, you lose everything, you drop your wallet, whatever, right? It goes up and down. When you exercise, what happens is that you heighten your emotional physical state. The same fluctuations happen, but now you take away the bottom of it. But the brain doesn't experience that as something that happens here. It experiences that as something that happens out here. So it doesn't learn. It just thinks, hey, things are going better. No. Things are the same. It goes up and down. You're different. And that's the connection you need to make by recording yourself every single day. Just saying something, hey, great day, this happened. And then once you actually talk to the other person over here when you do that. If you do this enough, I promise you, instead of going for 10, 20 years of just trying to exercise and hoping that you don't stop because you get so full of self-blame of not being able to do it consistently. Instead, you do it consciously. You practice this like any other thing, right? I want to run consistently. Okay, that's a skill. Practice it. This is the way you practice the skill of exercising consistently. And in the process of practicing that, you actually exercise a lot more. There's no self-blame. There's no shame because you're practicing. Like learning to play guitar. You don't take up guitar, you start playing, you make a mistake and go, oh, I can never learn this. This is terrible. I'm terrible. I just failed again. I'm such a bad person, right? So this is the key to exercising consistently, and you can use this for anything. Because it's just practicing. Do you think you can do it? Do you think you can practice running or exercising consistently? Of course you can. And if 1 month is too much, you say, I can't do 4 weeks. Totally okay that you can't do, then do 1 week. Right? Of exercising. Well, I can't run 6 kilometers or 4 miles. No, just, do whatever you can do and then build, right? That's what we want to do with anything. Whatever it is that we're trying to learn, you start. And then if you are able to take the right steps and not be overwhelmed because you take on too much in one time, then you can totally do anything. Anything. You just need to practice in this way. This is the method. Okay, so see you in the next video here. We're launching a course in just a couple of days. Very excited about it, where we'll go much deeper into training all of these things into you so you can start living even more in the frontal lobes. The reason why you're watching this video and the others is because you're already there to some extent. We just want to push all the way so we can get the most out of ourselves and our lives. See you in the next video.